In the news this week, the High Court in Belfast rules that the law on abortion in Northern Ireland breaches human rights. The Christian Institute criticises plans to liberalise prostitution laws in Scotland, and a leading sociology expert speaks out against the suspicious nature of the named person scheme. Hello and welcome to this week's news bulletin from the Christian Institute. The High Court in Belfast has ruled that Northern Ireland's abortion law is incompatible with human rights. The legal challenge was brought by the Northern Ireland Human Rights Commission. It wanted weaker laws allowing abortion in cases of sexual crime and severely life-limiting conditions. The ruling has not changed the law in the province, and the long-term effects of the judgment remain to be seen. Mr Justice Horner has asked for further submissions on whether the current law could be interpreted to allow abortions in certain cases. Northern Ireland's Attorney General John Larkin QC said he is profoundly disappointed by the ruling. Currently in Northern Ireland, abortion is only allowed if the mother's life is at risk. The Christian Institute has spoken out against plans to legalise all forms of prostitution in Scotland. Independent MSP Jean Urquhart has put forward a proposed bill which would scrap laws against soliciting and curb crawling. The Institute responded to a consultation on the proposals by saying that they could lead to greater exploitation of women and a higher demand for human trafficking. Institute researcher Hannah Compton explained the concerns about the bill.
The Bible is clear. Sex should only take place within the lifelong commitment of marriage between a man and a woman. Prostitution ignores God's good design and causes untold damage to both the individuals involved and society at large. It is in its very nature degrading and harmful to women. It's linked to violence, exploitation, human trafficking and drug abuse. If Holyrood were to seek to facilitate this, they would be setting a dangerous precedent for decriminalising any illegal activity that is difficult to police. They would also be facilitating the expansion of a practice which is inherently dangerous and exploitative.
The Institute called on the Scottish Government to follow Northern Ireland's example on the issue. Earlier this year, a law came into force there which criminalised the buying of sex and tightened laws on human trafficking. Currently, curb crawling and brothels are illegal in Scotland, but the authorities often turn a blind eye and fail to enforce the law. A sociology expert has warned that Scotland's controversial state guardians are being trained to mistrust parents. Dr Stuart Waiton, a senior lecturer in sociology at Abertay University, cautioned that the potential for gross interference in family life is extraordinary if the named person scheme goes ahead. Dr Waiton said a major problem with the scheme is that every single professional who comes into contact with children is being trained to be suspicious of parents. Rather than using their common sense, their professional judgment and their basic humanity to recognise problems, they are being educated to be risk-averse, to think safety and danger and to intervene in a family's life based on minor issues. Serious concerns about the scheme were also voiced during a debate in Holyrood on Wednesday by Scottish Labour MSP Mark Griffin and Scottish Conservative MSP Liz Smith.
The practical challenges of availability due to teaching commitments, time pressures, recruitment challenges and the resources to provide training will all fall on local authorities and health boards with no extra financial support.
I rest my case, Deputy Presiding Officer, on the fact that this policy has two fundamental problems. It takes resources away from our most vulnerable children, that is inexcusable, but secondly, it is completely against the trust and responsibility that parents and families deserve.
The appeal against the named person scheme is due to be heard at the Supreme Court on the 8th of March next year. And finally, an anonymous music fan has returned records stolen 10 years ago after becoming a Christian. The manager of Out on the Floor Records in Camden Town said the shop had received a handwritten apology. Jake Travis said a colleague opened up a package which included a note explaining the change of heart. When I was a teenager, I pinched a few records from you about 10 years ago. I became a Christian not too long ago and wanted you to have these records. Hope you can put them to good use. Travis said it was a nice surprise to see some good vinyl returned and hopes for more stolen music to be handed back. Well, that's all for this week. For regular updates and information on all our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.